All right. Good morning. Okay, make sure all my audio is good here. I think we're all set. Oh, oops. And we're still on the list from last week. I lost it. There we go, graphics. Okay, we're starting with the 21 today. All right, that's better. Good morning, Mr. Cert. I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Cameliton. Cameliton? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. And this light is super hot right now. Why? Oh, I know why. Ah, that's better. I can live with that. Second one's perfect. Okay, good. I'm not butchering it too much. Today we are doing sort of a hodgepodge set. I'm doing 2 Zeiss Contax and 2 Leica R. And then if I have time, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to do some lens hunting, is what I call it. Both looking for new lenses online, and then also I just received 2 lenses that I ordered. I'm going to go through them. I haven't looked through them yet, so it's going to be sort of a first look at a lens that I got. 2 lenses. Okay. I think we're all set. And coffee. Let's have coffee. So first up, hello, Patrick. Okay. Let's start by just looking at this guy. These original caps can be kind of hard to find. The early ones have a tendency to dry up, become really hard, and start cracking, but this one's still pretty springy, which is nice. It is a loud click. It's kind of loose. I think that sound was just echoing in the cap. Yeah. That feels pretty good. Glass looks very clean on this. Very clean. Wow. Sorry if that blinds you. Yeah, this is in fantastic condition. Just a tiny bit of haze right in the center, but nothing crazy. Very nice. Focus has a tiny bit of backlash, but the focus group in this lens is very small, so it doesn't have to work hard to move that focus. There's a little bit of that typical brassing that I always talk about. Right there. This ring should be all silver, but there's a little bit of brassing where the silver anodizing or silver plating has worn out, and you can see the brass underneath. It's not a bad thing, it just is an indication of how much use this lens received. You know, putting it on, taking it off the camera over and over would create that. Is there anything you can do to reduce haze and wear over time? The haze, you just have to open the lens and clean it out. I don't believe that this client requested any internal cleaning. No, this is just the mod. So that haze we might have mentioned to them, and they would have said it's fine, no big deal. It's very minor. I wouldn't open the entire lens to get that tiny amount of haze out. To me, that would feel like gouging. You know, a customer sends a lens in and we find one tiny thing wrong with it and we say, oh, it needs an overhaul. That's not necessary. Certainly doable, it's just not worth it at this point. Good morning, Johnny. Welcome back. Alright, so that's going to be gone. That's going to be gone. I don't know if I have a bag big enough for these here. I'm more just thinking about how to keep my lenses in the best condition. I don't know if that was something you could prevent. So preventing that haze is easy. Just take good care of your lenses. Don't expose them to moisture. Don't expose them to extreme conditions. Don't go cold to hot super fast. The air is loud, sorry. Sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes lenses have weak points in the design, and dust and moisture can just slip right in. But most well-designed lenses like Contax or Leica R, they take that stuff into consideration. Some of them are literally a vacuum, and you can hear and feel air blowing in and out from them. Good morning, George. I'm going to open up a Contax 28-2.8. Recently, iris stopped working and it got stuck at 2.8 aperture. Moving smoothly. That shouldn't be too hard. Kamalatin. But I'll show you in this one. I'll point it out when I get to it, but there's a very common thing that'll happen with that iris linkage. Which goes Zeiss Contax versus Milvis. Looking for a nice affordable prime set and have narrowed it down. Ooh, those are very different options, Kane. If I wanted something with character and a bit of a vintage look, I would definitely go with the Contax. If I was shooting a project that would not benefit from those inherent flaws, I would definitely reach for the Milvis. There's a lot you can do with the Milvis because it's a clean slate. You can dial them back with filters and in post, and you can really tailor the look that you want. But if you want that look baked in, then the Zeiss Contax are a fantastic option. I had oil in the iris blades. Ooh, oil is another story. Oil, you've got to dig way deep into the lens. I've seen this many times where people open up the lens just to the point where you can access the iris blades, and then they try to just wipe the oil off. That never works, ever. You have to remove the source of the oil first, which means disassembling the entire aperture assembly. Cheers from Spain. Nice. Mr. Calderon. The 21 Contax looks like the classic one. So this optical design, somebody was just asking about, what's that? Kane Tucker was asking about Contax versus Milvis. So this 21mm optical design is almost identical to the Milvis optical design. They didn't change it very much at all. Hey Matthew, I read that older AE Contax versions are more sturdy and better built than MM, and less prone to haze or separation. As a sweeping statement, I don't think that's true because certain focal lengths had different design characteristics. So as a whole, that's not really safe to say. How come you never strip the screws? Oh, a secret. My secret to not stripping screws on Zeiss Contax is I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but every day, except for Sundays, sometimes, for the last 20 years, I have been opening and servicing and cleaning lenses. Part of it is the tools. Every day there's another person on one of the Facebook forums or Facebook groups that says, oh, I stripped my screw, what do I do? And inevitably they're using some cheap, whatever screwdriver they had lying around. You have to use good tools. You have to use reliable tools, and those cost a lot. You should be using JIS drivers, which is Japanese industrial standard. this is not the best tool set. This is just convenient for me because I have all the bits that I need right here. This specific driver set is our driver set. We didn't manufacture it, but we make them. We engrave them with our own. This one's got my clever personalized one, just for funsies. But you can buy these. I'm not trying to make it a commercial, but in fact, I'll drop a link real quick. Now it is a commercial. Where's my mouse? Wake up, mouse. And I'll wait for the air to stop. I'll drop this in the chat here. There you go. So the tools are very important. Like I said, this is not the best, but I've really enjoyed this. I've been using this for actually about a year now. And I picked these tips for a very specific reason. The material. It's very brittle, which means this tip should fail before the screw fails if you're talking about a good screw. So I very much like this. If I'm not using this, I'm using Wiha. Wihas are my absolute go-to. You cannot, I mean, there's a lot of brands out there that people swear by. Wiha, the proper Wiha, are fantastic. They cost a lot, but they have a lifetime warranty. We have 10 technicians here, and every single technician has a collection of Wiha drivers, and we have a bag in our service area that we all throw our Wihas into when something goes wrong with them, whether they would just wear out a little bit, the tip starts to shatter, whatever. And we send that bag back to Wiha every 6 months or so, and they replace everything because it all has a lifetime warranty. They don't ask questions, they don't put us through the ringer. If you need the best tools, again, I am not sponsored by Wiha or anything, but their tools are fantastic. What's the difference between the new Tokinas and the Sigma Cine line? I've got a thingy coming up and was tempted to try the Tokinas out. As far as image quality goes, not much. I put it this way, I did a lot of blind tests back when those were both brand new sets. And I struggled to tell the difference between the footage from the Tokina Cine Vistas and the Sigma Cines. They were very similar in terms of image quality. To me, the biggest practical difference is the size and weight. The Tokinas are going to be about twice the size and twice the weight of the Sigmas. If I had to really narrow it down, I'd say you get the slightest advantage in image quality with the Tokinas. So if you can tolerate that size and weight, then it might be beneficial. But chances are it's not. It's a pharma commercial, so I want neutral. Honestly, for that, you're going to get good results with either. You might as well save your... I assume you're doing shoulder rig. Actually, I don't know. You tell me, George. If you're doing shoulder work, save your back and go with the Sigmas. If you're on sticks, then the Vistas should be fine. Good chance about my long-term affair of Cook. You couldn't get more different from those two. Cook is not neutral. It's motion control, no hand. Oh, well then let the robot bear the weight. who sold my Laowa 12mm photography lens. I'm looking about getting the Cine version, but I have the Zeiss 15. In your opinion, should I pass on it, or go ahead and close off? To close, I don't know what that means. The Laowa 12 is a pretty special lens. I really like it. It's pretty affordable. It's not going to outperform the Zeiss 15 at all. But if you need to get that extra couple millimeters, which at the wide end does make a big difference, then yeah, go for that Laowa. The only other lens that I recommend, maybe not in favor of, but as an alternative, is the Tokina 11-20. That's a really, really good lens. But not full frame. All right, who was asking about the linkage? I don't remember who that was. Whoever was talking about their Zeiss Contax not connecting to the iris. There's always well, here, I'll pull this one off. There's always a finger or a tab, whatever you want to call it, that goes into a slot. And this one, it's going to be kind of hard to show on camera because this has sort of a flange here. Yeah, it's not going to show. Well, down here is the linkage for the aperture. And it probably, I hope that it just skipped the slot. If this on yours got bent or snapped, you're in trouble, because these you can't really find. If these break on lenses that we service, or sorry, let me rephrase that. If we're servicing a lens that this is broken on, we usually have to make our own from scratch. And this linkage here as well, these two screws, these two sets of screws, you got this set and this set, and those control that fine adjustment that really makes your iris accurate. Speaking of which, let's get that screw out of there, or spring. So it's probably just that linkage that came out of place. I am getting a new microphone probably next weekend, so hopefully we'll have less background noise in the next stream. Awesome. I just fixed your lens. I'm going to put myself out of a job here. Any experience with the Sony SCLP3 lens set that came alongside the F3? Oh man, yes, I have many experiences with those. Perfectly fine optical design on those lenses, but mechanically they were definitely lacking. My first experience with those outside of a trade show was a customer that bought that kit, the F3, and it came with those 3 plastic lenses. And they sent them to us. He was shooting with them at the beach or something, and one of them got a lot of sand in them. And he sent them to us. I called up our contact at Sony and said, "Hey, we're gonna dig into this. We need a service manual. We need the grease, the proper grease recommendations, all this and that." And they said, "Oh no, those aren't meant to be serviced. Just replace them." And so I can't replace them. They're not mine. I'm a service facility. And they said, "Oh, well, they're not supposed to be serviced. They're camcorder lenses. They're supposed to be thrown away when they stop working." So that bothered me a lot. But those are very good lenses for the price, especially because you can get them at a steal these days. Oh, there's an odd residue. This, I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but it's like a reddish powder. No, it's hard. It's like I don't know. It's very strange stuff. I mean, it is an access point, so someone probably dripped something on their lens. And they probably wiped off the parts they could get to, but that particular spot used to be under the iris ring. Which I have done before. I'm guilty on my Fuji kit, my favorite Midicon lens. I spilled coffee at one point, and I cleaned it up really well, but then I was servicing it years later, and I opened it up and found residue from that coffee that I had spilled. Which is another tip for today. When you're working on lenses, do not have an open beverage on your bench. Ever. To be clear, that was not the scenario that caused coffee to spill onto my personal lens. That was just at home, and my camera was on my coffee table. All the technicians here are allowed to have drinks, but they have to be in sealed containers, like a travel mug or something. Overall, this lens is in fantastic condition. I know you don't have a favorite lens, but which Contax Zeiss lens do you like the most in design and performance and character? That's very hard to answer. You're right, Johnny. It depends on what I'm shooting. If I could only pick one, I would probably... Well, see, this is where things get tricky. For performance and character, I would choose the 35-1.4. I don't like that lens for its design. Mechanically, internally, it's a pretty complex design. I don't enjoy servicing that lens. But for practical purposes and, for creating images, I really like the 35. Alright, that looks beautiful. Cam Bob selling 2 sets. Oh, you own sets already. See, that's the opposite scenario I thought you were asking about. Unfortunately, the value of those Sony lenses have dropped pretty significantly. So you're not going to get much for them, sadly. What about the Hollywood 28? I know everyone loves the Hollywood 28, and there's something special about it that makes it Hollywood. Personally, I don't get it. I've played with that lens many times. There's more of that pink. It's almost like nail polish. It's super fluorescent. Actually, this light is still super hot. That should be better. It's definitely not a bad lens. The Hollywood 28 is fine, but I actually might prefer this 21 over the 28. Overpriced. Yeah. Wait, which one's overpriced? The Hollywood or the 35-1.4? If you're talking about the Hollywood 28, I agree. It's the price on those has skyrocketed because of its subjective fame, which kind of bothers me. I would like to get more of those and try more, but I'm not going to spend the kind of money that people are asking. The Hollywood, yeah, I agree entirely. I love my Nikon 28. Which one is that? The AIS? Do the Contax work on Monstro 8K? They absolutely do. If by work on you mean do they cover the full sensor? Yes, absolutely. Some of the wides might vignette a little bit, but by the time you window down to like 8K widescreen, you should be fine. Think your previous answer out AEMM. Is there equal in terms of quality and build construction? It's getting difficult for IMMs. Like I said, they vary from lens to lens. So the mechanical and optical design is going to vary from focal length to focal length. Lumping all of them in one sweeping category, I guess, isn't quite right. It's not fair to say that all MMs are better than all AEs or vice versa. I shouldn't say it's not fair, it's not accurate. Oh, that's beautiful. Very nice. Okay. There it goes. Perfect. I don't remember which style this is. Yeah, that's fine. I watched a movie last night. It's called Cherry. New Thomas Siegel ASC. Oh, with Tom Holland, right? That's been getting a ton of good reviews. On the ICG article, it says they used Leica M lenses for Iraq War. Parts Leica M095, Cine lenses 1821 90. Said they talk about Leica R's. I never see Leica R18. There is no 18 M0.8. What they're probably talking about is the Summilux or Summicron. Those focal lengths are kind of odd. Probably a typo. It probably is. Most of those articles I read, like I loved it went everywhere. The news about oh man, I can't remember his name. The guy that shot WandaVision, and they used 50 different sets or whatever the heck it was. It wasn't that many, but they're talking about all the different lenses, all the articles all over the place. You know, big Hollywood publications, and then all the little blogs picked it up, and it was all over the internet, all over Facebook, and none of the articles that I saw mentioned any of the actual lenses. You know, they had this clickbaity article, but then didn't give any actual detail. It's kind of a bummer. 28 f2.8. Looks like new and feels like, except for the focusing is a tiny bit harder at one point. Sounded like a grain of sand in there. Or it's too much work to fix that money-wise. No, I mean, too much money to fix something is completely dependent on what it's worth to you. My dad did watch The Shining. He loved it. But didn't Kubrick use his Zeiss super speeds? I loved the look of the movie, especially the gold room. I don't know what he used on The Shining. ICG article says the Iraq section was shot in Morocco. It was all done with Leica M series spherical lenses. I'm glad that they specified M or Leica spherical because, you know, those Leica anamorphics, wouldn't want to mix those up. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about with these articles, is they have these useless facts that somebody tells them and they just regurgitate it. They don't, whoever wrote that article probably doesn't know what spherical means. Oh, I forgot to, this needs to go in first. Oops. Which one is this? Thank you, much appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, with regards to the near mint one, I can still be bought around 200 to 300 euros. If you can find that Hollywood 28 for $200 or $300, then I'd say go for it. You know what? That actually might be supposed to stay out. Does that fit in there? I think it's fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Oh, no, it's not the Hollywood. Oh, okay. Oh, the F2. You're right. The 2.8. I mean, that's still a good price. Yeah, I think Zeiss Contax are climbing too high. They're getting into Canon FD territory, which is a little obnoxious. I got the classic 28-28 for 400. It's great. So if you want to try this faster, cheaper, yeah. I mean, again, the Hollywood 2.0 is overpriced. If you're looking to save $1 and you still want that focal length, go with the 28-28. Oh, I never thought about it. That's a really good point, Johnny. So what I think Johnny's referring to is the Zeiss ZF or ZF2 28mm f2.0. As far as I know, it's a very similar optical design to the Hollywood 28, but because it's not vintage, people sort of overlook it. I should say it's not vintage yet. See, if I was smart, I'd start buying up all of the Zeiss classic ZF2s, hang on to them for 20 years, and then when they're vintage, when they're actually vintage, start selling them for a fortune. Another newbie question, would you advise for re-greasing lenses with newer grease when they didn't have any problems leaking? Yet. Leaking? Not sure what you mean by leaking. I would only recommend re-lubing a lens if the current lubrication is dried up and old, or if it has sand or dirt or grit in it that you need to get out. I don't know if I could ever let mine go. I got all of them for a steal. 351469. Wow. 21,400 bucks. 15,700. Jeez. That is an absolute steal there, Johnny. I read antagonizing opinions on that. Some advice for it because the older grease can leak when working in heat. Others say it's not necessary at all. No, I mean, grease can become more fluid when it's hot. So it depends on what kind of grease is in the lens. Assuming it's the original grease, all these manufacturers, all the Zeiss, Leica, Contax, the Cosina, the factory that made these, they took all that into consideration. They're not those aren't going to be the kind of greases that leak when they get hot. But if the lens has been serviced in the last 30, 40, 50 years, however old it is, and they used an inferior grease, then yes, that could happen. But I wouldn't remove and replace the grease on the suspicion that that could happen. That seems like a lot of extra work. I mean, unless you want to just play with your lens, that's fine. But I wouldn't, from my perspective as a service shop, I would never recommend somebody change the grease in a lens for that reason. That sounds shisty to me. That's like taking your car to a mechanic and the mechanic says, well, you're gonna need new oil soon, so you might as well do it now. Maybe that's not a great example, because you're supposed to change the oil in your car. Oh, I mean leak in like oil on the is that English word? No, it's not an English word. But I know that word. Not if you drive Tesla. I do have a Tesla. Fun fact. I had to replace the windshield wiper fluid recently, and that's the only service I've ever done to the car. Why do you put the lens gear near the end of the lens in case you need to remove it if it's closer towards the end or something? No. I put the gear at the end because let's see if I have this is the next one I'm doing. So if you have a set of Zeiss Contax lenses, from the mount to the very beginning of the focus ring is pretty much the same on every Contax lens. This area is the same. Everything forward of that can change. So if you have a set of them, if I put the gear up here, it's super far forward on one and it's super far back on the other. So I keep them all right at the front of the lowest common denominator, essentially, so that they match up from lens to lens. Got a truck too? No, I don't. I do not own a truck. Why? You mean the Cybertruck? Is that what you mean? I wish I had a Cybertruck. Thanks, I'm glad I changed my mind about the 3D printed ones, because those, you don't have a choice. Yeah. 3D printed gears are great for the DIY people. I mean, if I wasn't doing this for a living, I'd probably go with the 3D printed route myself. And we do a lot of 3D printing with other types of products. I shouldn't even say that. We don't 3D print any products. Everybody sees them every stream. There's 4 3D printers right behind me here that we use for prototyping. But that's it. Technically, the only product that we sell that is 3D printed is something we've started doing recently on Leica M lenses, because they have that finger notch. In fact, let me pull it up here. Oh no, that's not going to be... I don't think I have any photos of it. Maybe I do. Let's see. I do have one here. There you go. That's a it's what we call a split ring. So these M lenses that have the finger notch for focus, we can't put a solid seamless gear on top of that. So what we do is we print this sub ring, this split ring that goes, conforms to that shape basically, and then we put the solid seamless gear on top of that. We have started experimenting with that, which technically I guess you could say is the only product that we actually ship that's 3D printed. And we used to just do it, we used to just put a notch in the Delrin, but that left a giant bump. So we started doing this sort of cutout that's the exact shape of the finger notch instead. And so far it's worked really well. They've been pretty reliable. I think there's probably about a dozen sets in the wild that have that type of split ring, and we haven't heard of any issues yet. That's been maybe 6 months or so, so it's going well. You were talking about changing the oil in the car. It's nothing like changing the oil in a truck. It sucks because you need to check the... Ah, I see. What is the between Leica M lens and ours? Oh, it's very different. What is the difference between Leica M lenses and ours? Very different design, completely different design. Some of their optical concepts will be the same, as far as like, a very basic double Gauss design, but the actual optical design between M's and R's is very different. They have nothing in common from a practical perspective. Actually, I say that, but George pointed out, I don't know if you're still here, George, he shared an article or a page from a book, and I can't remember which one he was saying, but he said that Leica did use the same exact optical design from lens to lens, which blew my mind. I didn't think that was even possible. I mean, no, it's possible because you can adapt them, but as far as the spacing goes and the distance from the back element to the film plane, 99% of those lenses are not the same. This one feels very nice. Oh, I need to bag up this cap. That might fit. Hey, it's my lens you have there, 25. What do you mean? It's your lens. This is not. Oh, the one you were referring to. Almost messed mine up. Thanks to you guys, it was saved. Oh, everyone, please don't listen to people who don't know what they're talking about. Thank you, Johnny. There's a lot of bad advice on the Facebook groups, and I try not to chime in too much because it makes me sound like an ass if I like correct someone or say no, don't do that. So for the most part, I just sit back and watch. talking about the Weha stuff made me Google them. Turns out they're just a couple 100 kilometers from here. Nice. Where is here? Where are you, Carlo Full Black Art? You must be in Germany if you're a couple kilometers from them. Germany, okay. So there's our ninja star. Just a little bit. At f4, it's pretty much the only setting. So at wide open, that's 2.8. Maybe it's easier to see here. Nope. Obviously, that's a perfect circle because it's wide open. At f4, you got a little bit of a ninja star. And then by the time you get down to 5.6, it's gone. So only at f4 do you get that ninja star. This one's a little more beat up. You can see a lot of wear on the mount through the anodizing, which means it's been taken off and put on a lot. But not bad. Some of the glue from the grip is starting to eke out a little bit. Matt, you have a voice, please start to speak up. I probably won't, Johnny. Thank you. I've definitely kept a lot of that advice to myself because it comes off as, you know, if somebody's asking a question in one of the Facebook groups and say, hey, I'm going to do this, how do I do that? And my automatic response is don't, you know, send it to someone that knows what they're doing. But that just comes off as me being, you know, I don't want to put anyone down. I would never want to sound like Sony, that, you know, with those F3 primes that said, oh no, don't open those, just replace them. I don't want to be that guy. I am all for the DIY crowd. I'm all for people learning. And I'll give advice when I can, but I never want to say, don't attempt that. The screws, I think, what I'm doing right now is what I think I see a lot of. When someone strips one, everyone has a piece of advice. You know, every time you see that in one of the groups on Facebook, they say, hey, I stripped my screw, how do I get it out? And you've got people that have like that rubber band trick. That's a joke. That rubber band trick almost never works. It's a waste of time and you're going to make it worse. But I'm never going to say that in the group and put someone down that just recommended it. That's mean. The soldering iron thing, that's kind of a waste of time. The soldering iron thing is if you've already messed up, if you've gotten to the point where you've messed up and now you're trying to fix it, then you should have just done it right from the beginning. See, lots of oil. This is not uncommon at all. There's a lot of oil that has seeped onto the mount here. Good morning, Marson. Welcome to Saturday morning. Oh, I needed that one. Come back. Oh, no, I don't. Is this one not getting a mount conversion? Oh, it is. Okay. Wait, the soldering iron does not work? It does work. Or it works, but needs to be done at the beginning, like Cine-Mod Lens has on their website. I mean, all right, from a physics perspective. So the screws that are being used here, generally they're stainless steel. And that tip of a soldering iron touching the piece of stainless steel, you've got to sit there for like 20 minutes or something to transfer that amount of heat, enough heat to make a difference. I don't think I've ever had to use the soldering iron trick. If you just do it right from the beginning, I understand that it is useful if the screw has started to strip and you have less purchase. You know, if it's slipping and you need something to help it, maybe the soldering iron thing helps. But I have never used that trick on a good screw. Yes, this is a 25 millimeter. Oh, thank you. 25. Is this 2.8 or 2.8? Yeah. There we go. Updated. The soldering iron thing could help if you need that little bit of extra assistance loosening up the glue on the screw. But like I said, I've never had to actually use that. Ooh, lots of oil here. A heat gun, don't use a heat gun, please. A heat gun will heat up the entire lens, potentially creating condensation in between the elements. So I do not recommend a heat gun. Sometimes, if a screw is very tricky, you can use a torch. But on these in particular, the torch technique is a little risky because you've got your rubber iris grip. Some of them have plastic. This is metal, but like that one I just did a minute ago, the 21 has a plastic bit that would melt immediately. I used a heat gun and still stripped it, but also because of the stupid, horrible screwdriver. Yeah. Acetone can be helpful, but you have to be very careful about where you put it. That's what Cine-Mod showed us. Okay. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Weeha. There's another brand, Bondus. I really like those. And then there's some blue ones, or they're like a teal color. I can't remember the name, but those are also really nice. Should we use the code Duclos for a percentage off? I think the only coupon code we have going today is, oh, I'll put it up for you guys. Good reminder. Unfortunately, it's not going to help you on the tools. But I promise that a Lens Geek t-shirt will make you a better lens technician. Obviously. I'm probably gonna skip the Leica R's and do the lens hunting. Actually, I'll ask you guys. Should I just keep modding more lenses, or do you want to see that process of lens hunting online? Is that I haven't done that before, so I'm curious to know if that's something you guys would be interested in watching. Lens hunting, all right. Do both weekends. I may not have the time. Formula One comes back next weekend, so we'll see how much time I have on Saturdays. Lens hunting is all of these vintage lenses, everything you see in all the Facebook groups and the forums, all these lenses that are super popular, people have caught on, so they're selling for ridiculous prices online. The easiest place to find them is eBay. So I scour eBay periodically and find good deals, either a lens that someone has they don't know what they have, or maybe it's something that needs some cosmetic repairs that are easy and we can find it for someone, or something that, if I have a lens here that requires a replacement part and I know, say a front element, and someone's selling one that has a seized up focus movement or something for a cheap, fine, I don't care, because I just need the glass. So it's literally what it sounds like. It's me hunting for lenses online. And I have a pair that I just got of Leica R's that I'm going to go over and show you guys what I look for specifically. I have a Leica 19mm version 1 with small oxidation. That might be interesting. On which element? Sounds like a normal Saturday. Stuck aperture deals worked really well for me. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. You find the stuff that needs a little TLC, and you can get it at a really good price. So we're gonna go through eBay and see what's what. and I'll show you guys stuff to look out for, what not to do, that sort of stuff. All right. Man, I checked an ASC article about Cherry. It said they used Leica M 0.8 set. It's called M 0.8 because Leica took their M lenses, their existing M lenses, and they modified them at the factory. So technically it's not a modification, it's a slightly different version of the M lenses. They call them M 0.8 specifically because they gave them all a 0.8 pitch focus and iris gear. So it's the exact same glass, but they changed out the focus and iris ring so that they had the gears integrated. Fun fact, I think I'm allowed to acknowledge this now. I've mentioned a bunch of times on the stream that we do OEM work for a lot of different manufacturers. We're usually not allowed to talk about it contractually, but I think it's I believe Leica has admitted it, which means now I can admit it, but we did a lot of those parts for Leica on the M 0.8s. When I say we, I mean Duclos lenses. By the way, we use Kineoptik wipes. That's why Matt is using. That's what Matt is using. I use to clean my lenses. Yeah, you can't see them because they're in a like a cradle underneath my bench. But yes, there's always a box of Kim wipes. Just, I mean, off camera, so right over here and then down. But we keep, every technician has these Kim wipes on a cradle under their bench, because they are low lint. They're not no lint. So when we pull them out of the box, that lint just falls down to the ground instead of on the bench. If you're working on your own lenses, I'm not sure what you're asking there, Johnny. Oh, use Kim. Yes. By the way, I haven't found any of those non-plastic focus gears in Europe. Do you sell focus rings separately? I guess shipping lenses out for me. We don't sell the focus rings because these. So I'll give another quick explanation. We've done it on the stream many times, but all of our gears are seamless. They're completely seamless. This is a solid piece of black Delrin. They're CNC machined to the exact diameter that they need to be for this specific lens. We do keep records of those diameters, but they vary from lens to lens pretty significantly, and it's such a precise fit that we can't guarantee what it is supposed to be. This rubber especially can shrink or expand over time. Some of the metal lenses like Zeiss EFs actually have very, very minor manufacturing differences between them. So the last thing we want to do is take a gear, cut it to the size we think it should be, ship it to Germany, and then you say, hey, this doesn't quite fit right. And then we got to either say, okay, fine, throw that one away, and then we make another one and ship it to Germany. Or we say, okay, send that one back. It's too much hassle, and it's too much disappointment for customers, potential disappointment. So we just don't, we don't send the lenses, or sorry, we don't send the focus gears out of shop. We do it in-house. It's like fitting a suit. You can take your measurements and send it to tailor and say, okay, I need a suit that is this, and this. and they'll make the suit for you and they'll ship it to you, but it probably won't fit the same as if you're in the tailor's shop and he's taking your measurements. That's the difference, is that we are the tailors and we are making a bespoke solution for that lens. I've never thought of that analogy before, but now it makes perfect sense. I'm going to use that a lot. You can buy your suit off the rack, or you can go to a tailor and have it made for you. Try Chord Vision. Yeah, Chord Vision stuff is... He uses Delrin as well. So you'll have... It's still the same drawbacks, though. There's no guarantee that it'll fit right. And he's in Europe already, I think. Chord Vision, I can't remember his name. He used to be here in the US, and he moved back to Europe. I forget where. I might repeat myself, but you're a well of knowledge. Thanks for sharing. We're going to wear you all down mad about those gears until you start selling them. I won't. I might. Yeah, you're not wrong. You guys, you wore me down with the mounts, and I've teased that a couple weekends now, but we are going to begin selling our EF mounts. This is one of the regular ones that we would put. This is a Leica R to EF. So we are going to be selling those probably next week, I think. It's a lot of research that's going into it. We have to package them all differently for different lens models and get all the instructions done right. But I think we had a couple beta testers and we sent them out and had really good feedback so far. So if that's of interest to you guys for Nikon, Zeiss, or Leica R's, definitely jump on the mailing list for Duclos lenses. We won't do contacts though. We're gonna leave that to Litax. How often do the lenses that you service require infinity adjustment after mount placement? Every time. I don't, I've said it on the stream before, I'll say it again. I don't show that process on the stream because that's done at a machine that is not far away. I mean, it's 30 paces from here, but I can't bring this whole setup over there to show you guys, and I don't want to just walk away for 5 minutes while I'm checking it on the collimator. So I just don't show that part on the stream, but every single lens that we put the mount on goes through the collimation process. So you usually shim them, or do you adjust the internals again? Depends on the lens. It completely depends on the lens. Some of them it's a simple shimming job. Some of them it's an internal adjustment. Some of them it's a matter of slipping the focus scale and shimming. They're all different. I think it's the most value people setting lens. Yeah, if you are getting a mount conversion, yes, definitely. I agree that that's of value, but I will also say that that particular value is circumstantial. For example, we're doing this conversion to EF, and it's going to be collimated, and it'll be perfectly aligned for a 44mm flange depth, and that is in fact valuable, I think. But this client may end up putting this lens on an adapter going from EF to RF or EF to E mount or something like that. And all of that precision tuning that we do on that EF mount flange depth kind of goes out the window if you're using a cheap adapter. So it's not necessary unless you care about that accuracy. But if you're using a cheap, flimsy adapter, then you obviously don't care about that. And it's not going to be of value to you. Hey Matthew, not sure if anyone has asked this before. Is there any way to treat balsam separation? I heard some Contax lenses have this issue. Many of them do. Treating it, no, there's no way to treat it, I would say. There's a way to correct it, but on Zeiss Contax lenses, it's usually not worth it. The correct way to address balsam separation is to separate the elements, the doublet or the triplet, whatever it is. Actually, I don't think there's any triplets in the Contax lenses. It's always doublets. You separate the doublet, clean out all the old balsam. Sometimes you have to polish it as well. And then re-cement the doublet. That's the only correct way to correct balsam separation. That process is not always economical for a Zeiss Contax lens. So it's definitely doable. You have to ask yourself if it's worth it. What is the bottle to your right? You took those wipes and get a drop before you clean the surface. This bottle is, I get this question almost every weekend. It's a degreasing chemical. I never tell people what it is because it's not legal in a lot of states, or it's just not available. So I don't bother telling people. But this is it's basically just a degreaser. It's a petroleum-based chemical. Yeah, James, that's usually the response. If there is balsam separation and there's no particular sentimental value to that specific model, then it's almost always going to be cheaper just to find a better lens. Do you Cine-Mod Hasselblad lenses? Sort of. We do some parts of some mods. There's one behind me. It's probably not showing up this. Oh, right there is a Hasselblad that I've been designing some extra parts for. But we don't do declicking or anything because it has the internal shutter. We don't do mount conversions, at least not for most of them. We have done work with them in the past for a company called iWorks. It was kind of like IMAX. They were a large format camera manufacturer. But for most people, no. It wasn't a common mount conversion. It was they had their own mount. They had the iWorks mount, which was very different. All right, that feels lovely. No issues there. I've been looking at Kubrick Kineoptik 9.8 lens. Please talk me out of it. The 9.8's a fun lens. Believe it or not, that's one of the ones that's on our radioactive watch list. Those can be very radioactive. More so than what most people usually associate with like Lomos, or a lot of people talk about like the Speed Pancros or stuff like that, but that Kineoptik 9.8 is a radioactive beast. I don't know, it's a specialty lens. If you want me to talk you out of it, I'll tell you there's much better options for much less money. But it is a cool lens. I'm not gonna lie. My stream just stopped. What happened? I killed my phone. Oh, I know it's live for you guys. I'm watching the chat roll still. On mine, though, it's basically I use it for my audio monitor. There it goes. There's no comparison between the 9.8 and the Sigma 14. They're completely different beasts. What would Johnny, what are you saying is a good price? I don't think I have the front rings that I need. Oh, see, this one has a very specific distance. Focus gear to be installed 2 inches between the EF ear cap in the middle of the focus gear. I don't even have the EF cap for this. Where's the cap? Oh. That's not possible. What? Who made this spec? Which technician am I gonna go talk to? Alright, that's not happening. I'll let them sort that out. All right. Person's selling the 9.8 for cheap, but they don't use it anymore. It's cheaper because of that. Okay. Okay, that guy's done. All right, let's take a look at some of these lenses that I got. I got today, actually it was earlier this week, a 35-1.4 and a 50-1.4. So I'm attempting to build a set of Summoluxes. And since these are bone stock, I'm going to get some data out of them. Hey Matt, do technicians in your shop work at laminar flow tables? We have several laminar flow tables, but they don't, we share it basically. So if a technician is doing a particularly difficult lens, or they have a, they're loading a specific group, they go over to the laminar flow bench. We don't put a laminar at every bench. There's 10 technicians, that'd be 10 benches, that'd be kind of pricey. And you don't need it 90% of the time. Our service area is heavily filtered, so it's not necessary for every individual technician, but yes, we do have it when it's needed. I bought an Ingenue 45-90 2.8 Duclos to Cine-Mod ? The first element rotates. Yes, we do Cine-Mod that lens, but there's nothing we can do for that front group that rotates the focus. Is it possible to change the blades of an AEG to avoid the Ninja Star? Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely not economical. Let me think here. There's two ways to go about that. You can attempt to find an aperture that works in the existing housing, but then your marks won't be accurate. Your actual f-stop ring won't be accurate. The alternative is to design and manufacture 7 or 8, I forget how many blades are in there. No, it's more than that. I think it's 9 or 10. New iris blades for that lens. The issue with that is manufacturing iris blades is a tricky task. Doing a couple of them is never going to be economical. You're going to pay for all that tooling and R&D and design and everything up front. So those 10 blades are going to cost thousands of dollars. The only economical way to do that is to make hundreds or thousands of iris blades. This focus is a little sticky, but I like that the rubber is still really bouncy. It's very flexible. It's not dried up and stiff, so that means this lens was kept well for the most part. But it is a little sticky, which is concerning. This is a little beat up. This looks like it has been repainted at least once. But that's not uncommon on the 35 Summilux because the glass sticks out so far. A little bit of wear on the mount, but no brassing, so that's a good sign. Overall, it's in pretty good shape. The mount, I mean. Engravings are nice and clean. They're original, which means, oh, maybe not. It looks like they were touched up at one point. You got some residue right here from whatever someone tried to put into the engravings. Yeah, it's in there pretty good. Glass, though. A little bit of moisture under the front. Or haze, I should say. It's not necessarily moisture. But no fungus, so that's good. I actually don't know where that is. It looks like it's on the back side of the front element. So that'll probably come apart. Glass is in fantastic condition though, the front and rear elements, as far as scratches go. So this one might be a keeper. I like this one. Ah, there is a telltale sign of a repair and the reason why this feels kind of sticky. I didn't see this until just now. Somebody replaced the rubber. This is not supposed to be cut. This is supposed to be a band all the way around. I see a little bit of rust on that screw there. So somebody attempted to replace this rubber grip, which means this lens has definitely been opened. And this is not the correct way to replace the rubber, which means whoever did the repair kind of cheated. It has an odd smell to it. I think it's the glue. Definitely. So this person was a smoker. That's usually more apparent. So if you think about the way you hold this lens, you know, if it's on the camera and you're holding it like that, these couple focus marks and the bottom here will just turn yellow, especially from a smoker. But these are actually okay, so I'm not too concerned. But yeah, this lens has definitely been touched up before. Are you still doing that data book on those lenses like you said? Yes, it's not a book, it's just a spreadsheet really, but it's part of a larger project that I'm not divulging at you know, anytime soon. But yes, I am running what I would consider comprehensive databases of Leica R, Zeiss Contax, Mamiya Secor Cs, and there's a third one. What is it? Technically, it's an extension of the Contax, but the Zeiss ZF2 and Milvis and all that. So, in fact, yeah, let's see. I'm going to pull up that right now because I'm sure I've seen both of these Summoluxes because we get them often, but make sure I have my up-to-date information. So 3514. There's only 3 versions. This serial number 3272497. 327. I don't have Phil here to confirm my dates, but this one is the earliest version, so between 1984 and 1991. Should be a 67. Yes, it is. I do not have the optical design for this particular lens. 1.4 to 22, I believe. No, 16. F16 is the slowest. That's usually the case on an f1.4 lens. The smallest aperture will usually be f16, whereas a Summilux or Summicron, a lens that starts at f2 or f2.8 will go to f22. Iris blades. I do not have a count of the iris blades. See, this is good. I'm doing this now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minimum focus. 20 inches. Oh no, these are all, yeah. Focusing material, rubber. Okay. Cam system, yes. Got all the weight. This should be 695 grams. Oh, where's my... I don't have my scale. That's right. I'll skip that for now. Anyways, so yeah, this one is potentially a keeper. I need to dig deeper into it and find out if there's any other issues underneath that focus ring. So this guy, 50 Summilux. Front element looks great. Rear element is also very nice. Also a little bit of haze, a little bit of contamination. I can see cleaning marks, which also is a telltale sign that this lens has been opened. It's very uncommon to see cleaning marks from the factory. So rubber is nice and squishy, that's nice. It's missing the baffle, which we see often, not a big deal, but there should be a plastic baffle here between the mount and the rear group. Not a big deal, I'm not concerned about that, but it does again mean that it has been opened and somebody took that out. So this is a 50 Summilux. There were 5 versions of this lens, ranging from 1969 up until the mid-2000s. So this guy, 3232. Ah, this is right in the middle. So this one is 1986 to 1997. And I do not have an up-to-date listing for this, so great. That checks off that one. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm going to move this stuff out of the way so I can type properly here. Alright. I already forgot the serial number. 323. Okay, here we go. I have all the data I need for this one. It should be a 55mm front. It is. Rubber focus grip. Should be approximately 2.5 inch for the grip. 2.59. Alright, I got all the other data that I need for this guy. So, these are both keepers, just varying degrees of quality. This 50 is in better condition than that 35. I don't see any other signs of shoddy service. There's no drilled holes for a spanner wrench or anything like that. No brassing whatsoever on the mount, so that's nice. So if somebody did open this up, which I suspect they did based on the cleaning marks, it wasn't done poorly. So, alright, let's do some hunting. I've never done this on the stream before, so bear with me here. I think what we're going to do is do a full-size screen share. I don't think, yeah, it's just an open browser. Do it like this, I guess. There we go. Sure, that works. All right, good enough. Trying to get this sizing right. It's killing me. Okay, good enough. So today I want to find Mamiya Secor C lenses. That is what we are hunting for today. In fact, let me pull up my list for Mamiyas. Does anybody in the chat own Mamiya Secor Cs? Or is this just going to be me? Is this all for me? Right, let me rephrase it. Is anybody interested in Secor Cs? There we go. I have a few. All right. So we have one person now. Well, let's start digging here. In particular, today, I would love to find... So I have a set of Mamiyas. In fact, here, let's switch back to... So I've been building this set for a while. We have a 45, 110, and a 55. So these are all, the Mamiyas are a fun set. They're medium format lenses, but they were built similar to SLR lenses. I mean, technically they are an SLR lens, but they were built similar to regular full frame lenses. So they don't have any shutter built in, which makes them good for motion picture work because it's just a straight up lens. Oh, nice. Okay, so we have a handful of people. A lot of people like to look at the different versions, and Mamiya had a lot of different versions over the course of their life. So the consensus is that the Secor CN is the better version. The N technically only stands for the new, the N is for new, because they gave the body a slightly different look. The early ones had a silver ring and they were mostly made of metal. The Secor CN is mostly plastic. So a lot of these bits are plastic. The front housing is still aluminum. But this focus ring, the witness ring, the iris ring, it's all plastic. I don't know why they decided to go that route. Maybe it was cheaper to manufacture. The only optical difference is a very minor revision to the coatings. So the Secor CN models had a revised coating. I used quote marks there because nobody ever really knows what that involves. Coatings are sort of the secret sauce of lens manufacturers. So any manufacturer can say, oh yeah, we revised the coatings and it's better, but there's no way to prove that outside of actual testing. There's nothing to look at and say, okay, yeah, that's been upgraded. So, so I have, this was the sort of the starting point of my set, and they've been converted to PL kind of shoddily. I need to change these shims. I don't like that they're sticking out like that. But I want to complete this set that I've been building for years now. These are the only 3 that I have. So today I'm going to start digging for, I have those 3. I really want an 80 f1.9. Yes, these are all converted to PL mount, Johnny. This is our PL conversion. It's pretty clever. It's rock solid. It works fantastic on every PL camera. I absolutely love these. Pairing these with like an Arri Alexa LF is phenomenal. So I want to find an 80mm, and there are several versions of the 80mm. There's a 1.4, there's a 2.8, and there's an f4. Within that, you have the C, you have the CN. There's a N with the leaf shutter. So there's a bunch of different versions. So let's jump back to browser here. Let's start with that. So here's a quick tip. The correct way to write out f/1.9 is like that. Most people don't bother using the slash, so do yourself a favor and just put f1.9 when you're searching, and it'll find them no matter what, even if it doesn't have, even if it does have the slash. So right away you can see this version with that silver front ring is the earlier version. So we know that that's not the N. You can find them, you can find the N models without the N name in the listing, because some people just don't know. So that's kind of fun to look out for. At the same time, a lot of people that list the non-N version, they look at the prices for the other ones and say, oh, well, this one's worth that much because it's a Secor C 80mm f1.9. But technically, this earlier one isn't as valuable as the N model. These should all be the 645 mount. These are not the RB or RZ versions. They call this Nolan. Is that true? I've never heard it called the Nolan 80. That's like calling it the Hollywood 28. I'm gonna start calling it that. All right. The other quick thing that you can do once you find a decent set, go down here on the left to, where is it? Completed item or sold items. Check that box, and this will give you an average price of what people are actually paying for the lenses. Anyone can list a lens for 2 times what it's actually worth, but checking that box and showing the completed sold listings shows you what people have actually paid for the lens. So this is very helpful. So I always start here to get a baseline, so I can tell this lens is gonna cost me somewhere between $450, $440, and I mean, this is insane, $800. This lens better be fantastic condition. So these ratings are always very important. Most people put them in the title, but I'm going to dig into that more in a second here. Oh my god, $1,100. Wow. So this gives you a good idea of what the going rate is. So going back to the uncompleted or incomplete listings. Oh, that took us all the way back. 80mm f1.9. All right. So the first thing I'll do is start just browsing the headlines. And you get tons of stuff like this. Almost mint, excellent plus plus plus, excellent plus 4, near mint, mint plus plus plus. So you always have to take all these with a grain of salt. Let's start with something cheap. There we go. Excellent plus 3. Sure, okay. Okay. So Japan, most Mamiyas are going to come from Japan. I'm not sure why. If anybody here has ever been to Japan, you know that they take their used camera market very seriously. You go to areas like Yodobashi or I can't remember now. I've been several times, and every time I go to Japan, I stop by these used camera markets, and they are phenomenal. It's a very serious business for them. So you go, there's a couple different pockets of Tokyo where you'll find these shops. Let's see here. So images can be deceiving, so don't put too much weight. So right away I could see this little mark right here. Someone slipped with a spanner wrench, which means this lens has been opened. See that right there, right there. So this lens was serviced, which means there was probably some dust or something underneath the front element. So that's a bit of a telltale sign. What else? Let's go to the back. Oops. Yep, there's fungus right there. That is definitely fungus. There you go. So that's why this lens is cheap. However, this would not be difficult to take out and clean out. And I always look at the photos before I read through description because I want to make my own observations before I look and see what they have to say about it. All right, appearance is clean, scuffs, normal use. Please check photos, optics minus lens. There is a haze in middle element, there we go. There are a few fungus on the front and rear element. No balsam separation. And obviously, I mean, this goes without saying, but obviously check the rating, 100%. That's nice. That's good to know. This lens is on my watch list. So what you're saying there is if I buy this lens right now and clean it up and charge you more. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. So another quick one, returns. Very important. If this lens is listed and has a no return policy, that means they're trying to get rid of it and they don't want to deal with standing behind it. So this is a very good return policy. I would not have a problem buying from this seller. I don't know, this looks like an individual. A lot of the shops that I do buy from have an eBay store, so you'll see a lot of them over and over again, especially in this Japanese product line like Zeiss Contax or the Mamiyas or Nikors. You'll see the same sellers over and over again. So this is it's not a bad deal considering the price. Why is N better than C? Well, so they're all Secor Cs. They all have that name. Like I was saying a minute ago, the N models are they have a better, technically, or I shouldn't say technically. According to Mamiya, they revised the coatings when they did the N models. To me, that's a cop-out. I don't always trust that. The N really stands for the new body. That's the N in CN is new. And for me, I just want my set to all be the same body style. So like on this one, you can see it's got this metal silver ring at the front. This is obviously not an N because this is the old style body. The actual optical design did not change between the C and the N. At least in Europe, it's almost no return for me when buying from Japan. Duties and taxes, shipping made it not worth it. Yeah, I mean, I get that. That could be tricky. It's the same here, though. if we bought this lens from Japan and then we didn't like it, shipping it back to Japan is almost not worth it. But I'm not saying you should use the return policy. What I'm saying is if the listing specifically doesn't accept returns, that's a red flag. The fact that they have a return policy doesn't mean I'm going to use it. It just means that they're willing to stand behind it. So it's more of a telltale sign than a safety net. I bought a 21 Contax Zeiss. It was rated top mint. When it arrived, it had 2 very small scratch marks on the back element. Everything else in the lens was super clean. That's not bad. It's another thing, another common theme with Japanese camera shops, used camera and lens shops, and maybe this has sort of become more known, but the Japanese meaning of mint is different than Europe and the US. In the US and Europe and other countries, when you say mint, it kind of implies like, it's really good condition. In Japan, mint means it's fantastic. It's, cherry. So I think maybe that terminology has declined a little bit in the last couple of years because supply is kind of drying up on used lenses. But in my experience, when I used to go to and from Japan, I haven't because of COVID, Japanese people they take the term mint very seriously. And I very much appreciate that about that camera culture. Buyer offered $50 in partial return. Does that seem fair? Yeah, I'd say so. If they're small scratches and they're not going to affect your image, I'd say that's totally reasonable. Alright, so this one's out for me. I'm not looking for the older body. That's an older one. That's older. So at this point, if I'm seeing a lot of the old style body, I'll go back and update it to N. N mint. So let's find something a little bit higher. That first one was 450. Let's go with 550. This is probably the same seller because they have an identical title. These lenses cover 70 millimeters. Yeah. No. I don't think so. So these lenses are all designed for 645 format. I don't remember what that is. The image circle. I don't think it will. I don't think this will cover 70 millimeter. That's a little bit bigger. Piece of advice I learned from a seller in Japan: video your unboxing, show the issue right away. Yeah, I mean that's not bad advice at all. That way you're showing it's an insurance policy, really. You're showing that you opened it and you didn't, otherwise they're gonna say, oh, you opened it and you scratched it, you took it and put it on your camera. That happens all the time, especially with Leica R's, because they're so high value that people will send a 50-year-old lens to us and they'll get it back and say, there's a scratch on it now. It's a 50-year-old lens. That scratch has been there for a long time. So it's an insurance policy. If you have photos of the lens from the listing and then you get it and there's a scratch that wasn't shown in the photo, but you have a video of yourself opening the box, it's pretty safe. The seller has a hard time arguing with that. So, all right, let's go through the pictures real quick. These, the spanner slots in this one are super clean. That's a good sign. It's never been opened improperly. This glass looks fantastic. There we go. That's a lot of haze. That's a big no-no for me. Body looks fantastic, though. All right, I'm sure that the listing says... Oh, what was the seller? Okay, so different seller, even though the title was identical. There is thin fungus, there is fog. It says it right there in giant red letters, so you can't say that he didn't tell you. So this one's a no for me, just because of that heavy haze in the back. So that was 550. Here's another 550. I'm going to jump up a tiny bit to, here we go, 650. Excellent 5. Clean spanner slots. The rubber grip looks pretty good. This one looks very clean. Nice, clean rear optic. A little bit of wear and tear on the bayonet, but I don't really care about that because I'm going to convert it to PL mount. So I'm not concerned about that, but it is a good sign of how much or how little it was used. Yeah, this one is super clean. Body looks very good. All the plastic is nice, no scratches or digs. People who do that, who sell you damaged goods and blame you for damaging them, there's a special place. The seller has a Contax 3514 MJ at a good price, but with a noticeable haze on the rear element. There's reduced contrast. He's not sure if it can be fixed. Do you think it's worth it? Depends on the price that he's selling it for. You say it's reduced, but by how much? How much does it cost a Cine-Mod Mamiya Secor with PL? The PL mount's $495, I believe, if I recall correctly. So where is this? Is this Japan? Yeah, from Japan. Well, that says from Japan, but it's supposed to say where it's listed. Right here. Tokyo, Japan. Alright, let's go to the listing. No scratches, no separation. Appearance is beautiful. Yeah, this is a nice one. What other lenses can you mod to PL? I mean, technically anything can be modded to PL, but if you're talking about kits that we have, you know, designed and on the shelf ready to go, we don't do that for many. At least not these days. We used to do it for a lot more, but with the introduction of copycat conversions, we've sort of stopped doing that for the most part. So this one is really nice. I really like this one. I might have to get this one. $650. I'm gonna grab that one, put it on my list here. Okay. The other one that I really want to find... Oh, did my music just end? It did. A very special one that I've been looking for, and I'm going to buy it today. The 145mm soft focus. Let's go find that. They only made one 145mm, so these should all be the soft focus. Oh my god. There's only one listed? Oh. Alright, so this is in Italy. Zeiss EF's not worth it. No, Zeiss EFs converted to PL are not worth it because that's basically a CP2. So you can spend the money. It can't be converted mount only. It has to have a new housing in order to accept a PL mount. And at that point, you might as well just have a CP2. Did the listing say does have little haze, or did I misread that down below? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to go back to that one. I really want this lens, but that's... It looks like it's pretty beat up. Oh, man. It's also a bad photo. It's a really bad photo. Okay, top tip. If someone's taking product photos and they're showing it, and they're shooting it at a really shallow depth of field, they're trying to hide something, or they just don't know what they're doing. Yeah, this is really beat up. The sticker's missing. This is all chunked out. This is not a great copy, but it's cheap. Why is there only one? There we go. I don't know, maybe I misspelled something before. Alright, this one says Mint, Japan. Funabashi, that's a typical used camera area. To send your lenses from Canada for mod, what are the customs forms, and do you have the customs agent? I just recommend FedEx, and if you're sending stuff from Canada to avoid customs, or to avoid taxes and duty, just make sure that you work with FedEx and specify that it's being sent for repair and return. That way they know that you're not buying something when we send it back, and they don't charge you for it. Why do you want this lens? Any special application? Yes. So this 145 is a soft 145 millimeter is a soft focus lens. So it's got this little scale here, almost like a it's like the defocus or the I forget what Fujinon calls theirs. Fuji has a couple lenses with this, but I've never played with it. Nobody's ever sent one for mods, so I just want it for my collection. It does bother me a little bit that it's the old style body, and it won't match my Secor CN set, but I can live with that because it's a special lens. So let's go to the listing here. Pre-owned like new. Like the Minolta's very soft. Yes, exactly. It's the same concept. Different manufacturers had different names for that concept, or that technique of defocusing. But yes, same thing. This might be the one I'm getting today. I really like this one. Take that. Oof. So it's $30 shipping. Actually, $30 shipping from Japan's not bad. Okay, I just bought it. You guys couldn't see it because I went to a different browser. So now if I refresh this, it should say it's completed. Ha! There we go. The listing has ended. That's because I bought it. Asakusa camera. Okay, this is a very well-known seller. I shouldn't say well-known. I've seen them a lot, and I've bought stuff from them before. At one negative. Why? After shipping, no response description. That's not a reason for negative feedback. Go away. Alright, so yeah, this lens will come in. I'll probably do follow-up mod streams where I actually show you guys the stuff that I'm buying and go over it. I asked a seller if many of sellers are consignment selling through someone else because of the same listing pictures and similar description format. He said yes, most of them will send them to someone else who to photograph, describe, create. Yeah, that's not uncommon. There used to be it's not so popular these days, but I remember when eBay became really big, you could go to eBay stores, give them your junk, and they would list it and just keep a percentage of it. That's why these sellers, they have a very unique description for every lens. The photos are different. They're showing the actual lens. Could you do a Zeiss Contax? Yeah, drop a link. Well, I don't know if you want other people snatching it up, but if you want, Johnny, drop a link and I'll find it. Just got home and doing it. Don't take my lenses, Phil. Stay away from my Mamiyas. I actually just messaged Phil yesterday and said, hey, if you get any leads, let me know. It's pretty much a control for spherical aberrations, right? Yes, that's basically what it is. You're basically inducing spherical aberration. Alright, so I got that one. That's in my incoming list. Oh, I need to grab the... Come back. Where's the photos? It's not going to show me the photos now? Alright. Does it show the serial number? I want the serial number. Whatever. I'll add it later. I just know putting this in my list. Alright. And then... So I also have a 150mm 3.5, but I kind of want to look for a 150mm 2.8 because it's an Apo version. Oops, see, I did it. I did the slash 2.8 Apo. Oh, see original. I don't think it shows the photos though, does it? Oh, it does. You're right. Thank you. Got it. Thank you, Colorful Black Art. Did you already find a good 35 3.5? Let me check my list. I did order one, but I haven't gotten it yet, so I don't know what the condition is. So yes and no, Phil. I don't know yet. For us with cheaper solutions, is it possible to mod Bronica SQ AI? For EF? Yeah. I have to see it. I think those have a built-in shutter, which makes them not super useful for motion picture work. But for most of those medium format lenses, yes, they can be converted to EF. Oh yeah. Typing too fast. Thank you again. So nothing comes up. Oh, there's one. Mamiya. Maybe if we add Secor. So maybe this one's going to be tough to find also. There's a 2.8. But see, this is a... I don't think the listing says it, but this is an N, I think, which is not the Apo model. And they have one photo of it. That's sketchy. Washington, United States. Alright, well... This is their entire description. So that's a no. For multiple reasons. See, this one actually specifies N. Let's check this one out. This is not the one I want, but I'm just curious. Yeah, you can always... The only way to confirm is that little tiny N right there on the front ring. I mean, in the body, if you know what to look for. That chunky rubber grip and the plastic housing is usually an N model. So it's still not what I want. I still want that Apo. Maybe that one's going to be impossible to find. Yeah, these are all 45. I want 145. Oh, did I write 145? No, 150. That's right. Alright, maybe if I just get rid of the Apo. Ah, okay. That fixed it. So when I got rid of the PO, so Mamiya used these letters to designate different lenses. So you have the C, and then you, well, they're all C's, but you have the N, you have the A, you have L. So the A stands for Apo. So I put Apo in my search thing, but right here, you see it, Mamiya A 150mm. That did it. So the A stands for apochromatic. That tiny little A, like I was saying before on the N, that's it. That's the one I want. Shinjuku. So this is, what's the seller? Angela Camera. Never heard of them, but it is in Japan, so that's positive. Let's go through the photos. You got a lot of paint missing on that front engraving. This right here, see all that? That's concerning. Actually, you know what? It might not be paint missing. That might be somebody that used a spanner wrench or a rubber friction tool, and the dirt from the tool got stuck in the engravings. That's a lot of wear and tear, but again, like I said before, I don't really care about the condition of the mount. I see a little bit of edge paint flaking off in here. Okay, this looks pretty solid. This one's going on my list. I don't know if I'm gonna buy this one yet, but let's keep looking now that I found better results. No 75 for sale right now? I'm not a fan of the 75. There is no 75. There should be a 70. What are you talking about, Phil? Okay. So that helped a little bit. That showed up when I got rid of the Apo and just called it A. If that's the only one that's listed, then I'm grabbing it, because I'm not buying this one, that's for sure. Their buy it now price is $600. And this one was what, $300? And that's in pretty good condition. I don't know if I want the 70mm, Phil. It's a 2.8, so it's kind of slow. And there is no N version of the 70mm. That's the only 150. Or at least the only 150 2.8. So I have a 150 F3 5 on the way, so I'm not super eager. But the fact that it's so rare, maybe I will get it. I shouldn't say rare, hard to find. Alright, let's do this guy. Oh my god. It's sold. Which one of you bought it? Are you kidding? It's gone. No way. That was like 30 seconds ago. Wasn't me. It was you, Phil. I know it. It just says it ended. Did it sell, or is the listing just over? Damn, I wanted that one. Well, that's part of the game. Ended March 20th, 12:43. It was literally 2 minutes ago someone bought it. Alright, fess up. Who bought it? I'll buy it off you for $400. I'm not buying this piece of junk one. That looks terrible. Ugh. That's the only one. Oh no, 150. Oh no, okay, so this is misleading. Oh no, it's not. It says AF. This is not a 645 lens. This is a different generation that Mamiya made for their autofocus system. So that is not a Secor C. See, 645 AFD. That's not it. Bummer. I guess that's the risk I run if I'm going to do these hunting sessions. Don't hunt for my own lenses because people are going to buy them. I'm not going to be mad. I'm just curious if it was somebody watching the stream right now. But I do not see another 150. Alright. I give up. Could try KEH. Oops. No. These are going to be... Oh! Out of stock. Damn. That's the autofocus ones. That's no good. That's it right there, though. 150-2.8. Alright. Well... that's a disappointment. What else am I looking for today? Yeah, Johnny, don't share. If this is in fact causing people to go buy stuff that I want, Yeah, don't share things. Don't share URLs or. Where's my list? Wasn't me? I already have it. Oh, okay, nice. The Apo model. Maybe I'll go for like a 200. Phil, do you have a 200 mil, right? That's another Apo one. Maybe I'll get that. There's a 200 f2.8 Apo. Why isn't it coming up now? Did I leave the A? Mamiya Sakura C. And none of these are going to be the 200. Let's widen this up a bit. Did I misspell it? No. There we go. That's it. Top mint. All right, so let's do the old trick here. $700, $1,000, 700, 1100, 1100. Actually, it's 1200, 1200. Not the right lens at all. So it looks like they're going for around 1200 for a good one. Oops. So N mint, I assume, means near mint. That's pretty good shape. No scuffs, no signs of entry. Yeah, a little bit of ding. Some gunk right here you could see. Probably from someone's lunch break, you know, grabbing the lens. Oh, so this is an interesting view. This has got a lot of crud build up on it. Maybe it's just the photo, but this is off-putting. All right, let's see what the listing says. Minimal signs of use, appearance, blah, blah, blah. Tiny scuffs from normal use. It shows signs of use. Optics, beautiful condition. There is no fog, no fungus, no scratches, no balsam. There is few coating deterioration. Fungus removal. Ah. This is very honest of them, and I appreciate that. Tiny dust. I don't care about dust on a 200mm lens. It's never going to show up. He says that he took a photo on a Nikon lens, or Nikon body, which I assume is this here. This is a terrible sample photo. But I get what he's trying to show. Oh, where was this from here? We have, I don't know where this is. I've not been to this area, but in Japan. All right. This one's in the running. It does look skewed, doesn't it? I'm sure he just took it at a weird angle, but yeah, see, it's got just some... It just looks kind of dirty. Okay. So this one's a potential. Keep that listing. Yes, it's supposed to be like an off-white. I know it looks a little yellowed. It's probably just their photo. Okay, so right away, the rubber grip on this one's wearing out a little bit. It's not a problem. It just means that it wasn't kept well. It got hot and cold over and over again, and it has this oxidization. Yeah, you could see it there, where it starts to discolor a little bit. I'd rather have this discolored focus grip than a discolored body like the other one. Camera exchange. Michigan. Ooh. Not a great sign. So the upside to this one is that I'm in the US and this one is in the US. So in theory it would cost less. No, it's still $30 to ship it. That doesn't help much. So this one's okay. Add that to my list. Okay, now we're down to the top mint one, which I saw that caught my eye when I first started. So $50 shipping. Japan, that's a good sign. Classic camera, Japan, Harada. Oh, I skipped the photos, sorry. Glass looks good. Absolutely no signs of tampering on that front, so that's nice. This one looks like it's in better condition. I mean, it does say top mint, so it should be. But, yeah, this one is nice. Alright, let's check the listing. Top mint. Tiny scuffs from normal use. No fog, no fungus, no scratches. And then what was the shipping on this one? $50? Yeah, $50. I get that. Most of them are going to be around $25 or $30 shipping. But this is a big lens. It's going to cost more to ship it. If you bought used glass Robert's camera, they have thousands of listings on it. I don't think I have. So far this one's in the running for me. I mean, in the top. But it's also the most expensive. All right. I'm glad I got that soft focus one. That's the one I was really hoping to get today. So I'm happy about that for sure. Let's jump to the 300 2.8 and see what we find. Yeah, these are gonna, I mean, obviously they're higher priced. excellent plus 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 plus. Is it though? That's a lot of wear and tear on those filter threads. I mean, this giant barrel I get getting scratched up. I get that the support foot is scratched up. That's fine. But these filter threads being worn out. Oh, they're not filter threads. I'm sorry. That's just how it mounts to the lens. That scuff right there is concerning. That should not be there. The knob here is worn out pretty significantly. That's a lot of beating. This entire edge right here should not be black. So it's been rubbed and scuffed a lot. Even the ID plate, it's got some corrosion on it. So it's in okay condition, but I don't think this is excellent plus plus plus. Well, it is priced lower than the others. It's $500 cheaper than this one. If you were to compare these Mamiya to any lens, which would it be? That's kind of tough. They're not dissimilar from certain Leica R models, but they're not going to match up across the board, that's for sure. This is a lot of wear and tear on the mount. This plate's in much better condition, obviously. Ooh, it's going to come with a 3/8 to 1/4-20 adapter. That's a 10-cent value. Ah, big concern. That screw is very stripped. So somebody has popped this open. What's your second to be? 55, 80, 110? All of them, really. Currently, it's these three, but my set I would like to be 35, 50, 35, 45, 55, 80, 110, 145, 150. I kind of want the Apo, but I have the 150 3.5 already. Or at least I have ordered it. It's on the way. So this one is $5,000, but I did not like the condition. This one here is much cheaper. And I like to say optical mint, which is basically their way of saying the body's not great, but the optics are good. Yeah, that's kind of beat up. But I might be okay with that if the price is right. All right. What about the I don't know. Phil, what do I get? What's another good one? I could do the 80 macro. Let's try that. Okay, so the macro, 80 macro, there's a C and an N. So obviously I want the N. Same design, just different body. So this guy here. That looks like it's in pretty good shape. The tabs are a little worn out. I hate that pop-up. I'm going to remove that anyway, so I don't really care about that. Spanner slots look good. The typical wear on the mount, that's going to get removed, so that's okay. A little corrosion on the screw right there. I can't tell if that's just a piece of dust or if there's a chunk out of that ring. This one looks pretty good though. Okay. This one is not an N, not N, that's an N. That's the same one I just saw, isn't it? Oh no, slightly different. Finding the serial numbers on the Mamiyas is kind of tricky. It's usually stamped into the plastic. Oh, this is not an N, my bad. I think I clicked, yeah, here we go, this one. This mount is in much better shape than the last one. There, that's the serial number on that one. That's easy to spot. Sometimes it's very, very subtle. What about Hassi set? Hasselblads don't work well for motion picture work. They've got a lot of built-in... the shutter is usually integrated. The mounts are usually really complex. The Mamiyas are nice because they were sort of a no-frills medium format solution. Do I remember correctly that Phil owns a set and you two guys were comparing the C and the CNs, and one of the wide lenses was significantly better than the newer version? Yes, that's true. The 35, I want to say, when Phil brought one of his, he had a couple of them, we compared the two. The CN did perform much better. But you have to keep in mind, Marcin, that these are 30, 40-year-old lenses. Just because I tested two different lenses doesn't mean that that is the case throughout the entire set. Or, sorry, throughout the entire production line. Alright, oh, where was this? Japan. Good, good. The reason I check where it's from is in my experience, I trust Japanese sellers more. In general, they are more trustworthy as far as the condition notes go. This is just talking about the... Oh, here we go. Excellent plus plus. There is thin haze. Okay. And a few dust. I think I can live with that. This one's a little cheaper. All right, I think I'm gonna buy this one. 35 shipping. All right. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. Okay, purchased. Let's see if that worked. Bingo, ended. This time it's intentional because I bought it, not someone else. I would love to, if that lens, if that, what is it, 150 Apo shows up at my shop for someone that wants mods, I'm gonna ask. I have to find out if they're watching the stream, and I'll tell them how jealous I am that they snagged it. All right, so we got a couple lenses today. We have 3 or 4 more coming over the next week or so. Hopefully I can get some of these, if not all of them, over the course of next week. And then on Saturday, we can do a sort of an unboxing, almost like a haul video. We can show you, I'll show you guys everything I got compared to the listings, and we can go through everything. Who did the glass in these? What do you mean, who did the glass? Mamiya did. Mamiya was a big lens manufacturer back in the day. Oh, I missed the see product details. This is macro. All right, so this will bring my set to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lenses once they all arrive. Some Mamiya lenses says designed by Schneider Kreisnak. Some Schneider lens or some Schneider designs are pretty terrible. For example, their blue ring current lenses are not great. What do you think about Kip-On Bev-Eye's 0.7 focal reducer? I think it's fantastic. I know there's a lot of people that think that it takes away from the image quality, but I think that if you're attempting to speed boost a medium format lens down to full frame, then quality is not your priority. If quality is your priority, you should not be picking a medium format lens. Yes, I've used it. You should be picking something like a Zeiss Otis or a Sigma Cine Prime or something like that. So inherently, if you're looking for a more character-driven image, then yes, the Bev-Eyes stuff is great. Oh wow, the current blue lens, we had the 80mm for phase 1, I don't know, repaired 3 times in 2 years. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I have the 80 for phase 1 as well. I don't like it. It's not a good lens. I have the 80 and I have a 150, I think, for my phase 1. The 150 is pretty good, but that 80 is not great. Let's pull that up here. Designed in Denmark? Meh. Is that really a bragging point? Alright, so this guy right here, the 80-28. Not a great lens. It's a Schneider Kreisnak, it's for phase 1, it's medium format. Everyone always associates medium format with superior image quality. It's not a great lens. It's like the nifty 50 of medium format. And then this one, the 150-28, I do like this one. I have this one, it focuses dirt slow, but the image quality is pretty nice. No complaints with that one. So, yeah. Yeah, they brag, blue ring design. I don't. Does that mean that? Are you telling people that it's special because they put a blue ring on it? What does that mean? I understood it as blue ring design was kind of like the equivalent of L series from Canon, but like I just said, that 80mm, that's a blue ring design, but it's garbage. Sorry, I don't want to say garbage. Someone worked very hard making it. Actually, it doesn't have that. It doesn't say blue ring design, but it has a blue ring. There's no question about that. So maybe this isn't part of that line? I don't know. Anyways, I do want to get another one. What's the fastest one they have? So it's all 2.8. Longest, fastest. I think that's why I picked the 150, because it was the longest and fastest. You go to the 240, but then you're down to a 4.5, which is a little slow. Anyway, that's enough of that. We spent enough money today. Yeah, so these Mamiyas will have some friends to play with soon. For the mods of Mamiya, do you have thicker gears, and can the iris be geared? We do thicker focus gears, sure. We can make it the width of the entire focus grip. In fact, I think I did that for Phil. Phil, if you're still here, did I do wider gears on your focus? I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, we cut the Delrin in-house. It's all CNC machine, so it can be as wide. I mean, it can make it that big if you wanted it to. It just gets expensive. If you think that, this gear is X dollars, say it's, I think this one's like $100, and then you double the size of it, technically, I mean, logically, that would be double the price because it's 2 gears. So making it triple is 3 times the price. Obviously, where you cut people a break, and it's not exactly that kind of math because some of that cost is the actual machining process. So it does get more expensive. It doesn't help at all because the focus ring stays stationary. The front telescopes when you focus, but this portion, the actual focus ring, does not move back and forth. So it doesn't really do anything. Or I should say it doesn't affect, the thickness of the gear doesn't affect anything. As far as the iris goes, I usually don't, just because the iris ring is very thin, and if I put a gear on here, it would just go straight over the iris marks, and you wouldn't know what your iris is set to. So you can see the actual iris ring is just this one thin piece here. There's not a whole lot of room. I mean, technically I could probably offset it just a little bit and have it show, but you'd have to like peek around from the front to see what your aperture is set to. On top of that, the CN lenses all have a plastic body, and installing gears, no matter what the material is. So the seamless gears from us or from some of the other people that do a CNC machined gear that's pressure fitted, they'll work okay on plastic. But if you're going with something that has set screws, it'll never work. It'll pinch the plastic and you'll have it bind and it won't rotate smoothly. It'll feel terrible. So generally we don't do gears on the iris for these because it's not always necessary. So I'm excited to get the rest of these and build up this set. Are you going to use these with focal reducer? No, probably not. I dropped some hints. There's a Facebook group, not hints, but there's a Facebook group dedicated to using Mamiya lenses for motion picture work, and I was asking some questions there to get feedback from people. But I have some other mods that I'm working on with these specifically. Why is that so tight? That's odd. That will not include the PL mount, and it wouldn't work with the bev eyes. So I might, but I'm either going to do that new mod or I'm going to end up putting them all in PL. And when you use PL, I don't think Bevize does that. Do you plan on selling those or keep them? I don't usually sell used lenses. I should say Duclos Lenses does not sell used lenses. We try to stick to brand new factory authorized dealer setups. We leave the used lenses to other people that specialize in that. So no, these are my personal lenses. These won't, I mean, unless I am done with them and I don't want to use them anymore for some reason, but I'm kind of a lens hoarder, so that probably won't happen. But these won't be for sale. These are just my lenses. Or I should say, I'm not buying them with the intention of flipping them. I'm buying them to keep them for myself. So, I think that's about all I have for today. Lifelong glass. Yeah, Phil's right. These lenses will literally last a lifetime. All right, let's clean up here, get some of this out of the way. Thank you all for hanging out on Saturday, as usual. Definitely, I say it and it sounds terrible. I hate saying it, but do subscribe because it does help us. And it will remind you when I get all the lenses that I just bought that are on the way. I think there's 5 of them coming from this Mamiya set. I'm going to try and do that next weekend. So subscribe so that you get those updates. And hopefully there's no major surprises and we have some good lenses to unbox next week. And maybe some more Leica Rs as well. I'm trying to build up my set of Leica Rs. And this is the start of that set, just these 2 little guys. So hopefully that grows as well. Subscribed. Yay, thanks. All right. Thanks for answering all my boring questions. It's never boring. There's no such thing as a boring lens question. So always welcome, Johnny. Thank you guys. I will see you next weekend.